Over the next 2 minutes, I want to make you think about and reflect on the difference between learning and performance. And I want to start with a fairly provocative statement that says that you can't see learning, you can only see performance. And what I mean by that is when we might sit a student down to do a test, to do a quiz, to do an exam. What we see is their output. We see their performance. Did they get 80%, 90%? Did they get 10 or 12%? That might not have any correlation to how much they've actually learned. They might have been tripped up by a few questions. They might have had just a total mind blank. They might have been ill in the morning. They might have had a row at home. There's all these factors that can affect performance. We see this in the sporting world. Just because one team is on paper better than another doesn't mean to say that they're going to win. Actually, what happens is performance happens on the day and one team or one individual performs better than another. This happens in our classrooms all the time. So I want you to really think about kind of the output is just a performance indicator. And when you're looking at scores across across Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Term 1, 2, Term 3, etc., etc., just because there's an improvement in a score or a decline in a score doesn't mean to say that that child has demonstrated that they've learned more. It might just be that they've performed better on that question, that test. And also we know that the amount that literacy plays in question design, that actually if students aren't aware of a certain word or they don't really understand the question, then they're going to struggle and they're not going to perform as well. So the questions and how you design your quizzes, your questions, your assessments is really important, because if you've got one assessment that's far more academic in its language or is far more difficult to understand, and we see this year after year on SATs papers, GCSE A-level papers, where we go, oh, that was a bit of a nasty paper because that question could have meant a lot of other different things. We need to remember that in our own design as well. How are you assessing your design of your questions and assessments so that if you are going to compare Term 1 with Term 2, is it, as best you can, the same ability on the same level of difficulty from a question point of view, not in content, but in what the question's actually asking. So really thinking about, are the scores in my mark book, are they actually indicative of learning, or is it just performance? And how can I create assessments and tasks that really assess learning and not just any performance on any one given day? And that's quite difficult, but it's a really interesting concept to start unpacking and thinking, what am I seeing here? Is it learning? Is it performance? And how can I make sure I see learning, which we all know is a change in long-term memory, not just my ability to actually spit something out on a paper one day and forget it the next.